So firstly, I just want to say a big shout out to James and Shabri. My LinkedIn has been absolutely kicking off the last 3 weeks. But it just goes to show just how much of a community and opportunity that we've got. So I just want to say thanks ever so much for having us here today. It's been absolutely amazing. So yes, as James rightly said, to give you a bit of background, I've been at RG for 7 years now. Started as a first generation outbound SDR. I've had therapy. I am now fine. I was a relationship builder SDR, so spreadsheet heavy, keyboard warrior through and through. Always love the process, love the psychology of it all, and just love to put in together like great copy and great cadences. So that passion, basically alongside absolutely hating the phone, really give me the determination to tone in on those skills, which my manager at the time absolutely loved as well. Anyways, as Jane said, powered on through. Using my love for Google Sheets and my hatred of the phone line, I progressed to senior SDR, then SDR manager, and now I head up RG's UK sales development team, which is a wonderful position to be in. So I was about 6 months too early into this role, if I'm being kind to myself. I had to learn very much at the deep end. So my 7 minutes today is about the 10 ways that you can leverage introverted skills for extroverted teams and outcomes. So number one, invest in the knowledge of your infrastructure. So I'm talking about mapping it out to ones and zeros. So what clients do you have in place? In what remits? What industries? What has been Q on Q performance over the last 10 of them? What problems are you solving right now? And what problems were you solving back in the day? How has your product set changed? And what have your buying reasons look like and how have they evolved? Know it all. What you want to do is you want to take that information and you want to understand why your KPIs and your metrics look the way that they do now. So understand what's important and understand likely what it is that you're going to have to apologise for ignoring later on down the line as well. So number two, the majority of the room may not be a spreadsheet warrior, but you're absolutely here because you're good at your role, and you're good at your role because you know a certain rhythm, right? So you've learned and you've understood a certain dance, and with that you've executed inputs and you've delivered incredible outputs. So remember that there's always method in your madness. So whichever way that it is that you're coming from, or whichever way that it is that you're looking at, you're doing things and they're working for a reason. So just dig into it and find what it is that your strength is. Number three is know your lead channels, know your routes, know all the variables of your inbound, and know the mechanics of a good outbound. Know not just your KPIs and your metrics, but the conversions that are in between them as well. Like understand the health and how they actually relate to each other. Put a stake in the ground with every single one of them. So like benchmark it all, and you can then look to impact and improve upon them as you go. Show your SDRs how their targets are built. Show them top down, back to front, sideways, whatever it might be. The majority of us in sales, we work Q by Q with targets, right? So some of those Qs are longs, especially the end of the back of last year. But don't let your SDRs fly Q by Q completely blind. Like make it less abstract for them. Give them the knowledge to own what they want to be accountable for. So there's some reps like me that just aren't motivated by targets or cash, but instead they're motivated by creating amazing email subject lines and spending 30 minutes nailing the perfect bit of personal information. But as a rep, when I gained the knowledge to why you have like these certain time constraints and the whys, it really kind of brought it to life. And I made a conscious effort after that to make sure that I hid how long I was spending on emails instead, because I really did care about my manager's stress levels. As leaders, it's our responsibility to ensure that our teams have got the information that they need to execute to the best of their abilities. So with education on the sales cycle, you can eradicate the words and the consequences of, oh, I didn't know. So 4 is for individuals. So once you've mapped out your unit and your business, go another step. Map out each individual against it as well. Like what are their averages? How are they stacking up against them? Are they overperforming, underperforming in certain areas? Are they aware of it? Like these numbers are important to them, but they're important to you too. So what are the 10 things that are attached to that section of the sales process? What are the nuances? What is the training that's needed? What's the best behavior to get the best outcome there? Is it a one-time tackle, or is it something that needs to go in a cycle for a constant refresh? So this will not only give you a data-informed lens to coach from, but it's also a massive support when begging LT for sales loft mid-pandemic isn't quite working for you. So it doesn't just give you an evolving ecosystem of training areas and onboarding knowledge, but it also gives you your best trainers on each of those subjects. So sit with that individual rep, listen to them, gas them up, and empower them to the point that they want to bring everybody up to that bar with their playbook, and do it so much that their confidence just goes through the roof, and that like your team themselves actually build that culture of learning. You want a space not only where SDRs want to bury each other on the leaderboard, but you also want them to chuff for their teammates, and you want them to want to learn from them as well. Number 5 is probably the most important one for me, is you. This level of detail that we look at our SDRs, it needs to be put on yourself as well. So you can't confidently tell somebody about their house if yours is an absolute wreck. So as a leader, you set the bar, you set the pace when it comes to values, when it comes to work ethic, the thirst for learning and digging in. All of us on this webinar, we're successful in our different ways for different reasons. So you might be the best motivator, you might be the best teacher, the best relationship builder, challenger, whatever it might be. But whatever route that you're on, we've all got 10 areas, just like our SDRs, that we need to be nailing as well. So do your own gap analysis. What are your development areas? What do you need in order to achieve them? What resources do you need to pull on in order to get that support that it is? So what's going to make your house absolutely beautiful so your neighbours are a little bit jealous? But then also, what's the biggest gas leak that's going to blow it to Jupiter and back if you don't fix it? So your company, your infrastructure, it's all mapped out. You've reduced your team to mere numbers and yourself to tears with your gap analysis. But what's next after that? Number 6 for me is sales development is a team sport. Like, it thrives off facilitation of good information, strong execution, and operational efficiency as well. So get your team comfortable in being vulnerable and sharing what they've read, what they've learned with their colleagues. But the second important thing to that is get them comfortable in telling you what is absolutely shit as well. So friction points, whether they come in the shape of tech, training, process, or even people, aka consultants, they're all disruptors and distractions from momentum and ultimately what will be your success as well. So whatever it is, make it your priority to reduce the noise and give them the path of least resistance in whatever shape that takes. So number 7 is dedicated to coaching. I seriously was late to the party on investing in my coaching skills. Honestly, whack it on the gap analysis now. Sometimes you're going to need to problem solve and make their dreams become a reality on Salesforce. And I am yet to find an SDR that gives a shit about building a report. But when it comes to growing them as a professional or as an individual, coach, and coach some more. And the simplest way to start is when they ask a question, just answer with one. Done. 9 times out of 10, they will solve it themselves. They will feel great, they will grow, and it will give you more time to focus on the really important things, such as why HubSpot and Salesforce don't actually talk to each other properly. So 8 is growth impact. So your team's pace, its size, it's going to continually diversify and evolve around you. And as you evolve with it, your capacity to spin the plates that you once did is absolutely going to reduce. But remember that the superstars that are around you, they're growing and getting more and more capable every single day, just like you are. So delegate and trust in them. Year 1 is going to look different to year 3. So what have you got time to teach now? What do you need a rep to actually have ready to hit the ground running now to what you couldn't do 2 years ago? And remember that the numbers, they're just a tool. They're not the whole picture. X amount of reps doesn't always equate to Y amount of pipeline. 2 hungry SDRs will outperform 5 average SDRs every day of the week. 9 is dedicated to breaking the rules. So sales process, tactics, they're there for predictability, consistency, for repeatable, scalable success, all the lovely buzzwords that we absolutely love. God love them. But it shouldn't be so rigid that it doesn't allow for breaking the rules and innovation. So if one of your SDRs say, hey, I want to try this risky thing, give them the things that could go wrong, but also give them the things that could go right as well, and let them make the decision. The biggest buzzes that I got, and I still get, is from breaking the rules and being cheeky in the areas that you're not really supposed to be, but it absolutely paying off. And I bust because my manager not just believed in me to do them, but actively encouraged me to do it as well. And then 10, my final piece of my memoir is it's less of a point, more of a mantra, but know shit inside out. I got told that on my first day of IG by Lewis Quache, and it has never failed me since. Bring your whole self to work because your team will as well. And it's the more that they can be themselves, the absolute better. Never be shy about telling your SDRs about how great they are. We all know they've got the hardest job, and they are great, and they absolutely deserve to hear it at every single point, whether it's on KPIs or behaviors. And that's how you'll get to the 2%. That's where the beauty of the role comes from, and that's how you'll stay in front of everybody else as well. But my DMs are always open if anybody ever wants to chat. But thank you so much for having me.